So what makes a battery strap, where was I going with that? My nose, my nose started to itch and I lost, focus. All right, folks, what's going on? My name is Tommy. Welcome to another episode of What's New Wednesdays, where I basically show you guys things that might be coming around the corner. It might just be a prototype. It might have been out for a while, but either way, it's worth showing to you guys and sharing. So let's jump straight into it because we got a couple of things. Let's jump into this one right here. And this is coming from the good folks from Tiny's LED. Now, I was posting a couple of things on Instagram and he shot me a message and said, you know what would look good with that build? Some LEDs. And I was like, shoot them my way. And so here we are. Not only did he send me a handful of LEDs, but he sent me like a whole bunch of stuff actually. So let's start off with the big thing that's like super obvious. Now, if you've been paying attention to mini quads, you know that X-Class is a thing. And so now he came out with arguably some pretty big freaking LEDs. Check that out. That's probably some of the biggest LEDs that I've seen. But this is made for an X-Class, 6S only. It's got a fixed color. You just wire power. Wire power. Jesus, what am I trying to say? You wire power to the pads right here. It's a fixed color, fixed strength, and you get yourself some LEDs. So that is for some big quads there. And you can also daisy chain them. As you can see, you got the pads on both sides. But let's say you're flying something a little bit smaller, something a little bit more standard-esque. Let's take a look at this guy. And I really like the fact that it's called Pico, because I feel like everyone just gravitates towards nano or tiny or micro. But they use the word Pico for this tiny little guy. Is that in focus, Ryan? Awesome. So as you can see, this guy is super tiny. This is also RGB adjustable. And as you can see back there, he used the 5-volt pad, the ground pad, and then the signal pad, which again connects to Betaflight so that you can tell this thing what color to shine or flash or gradient or fluctuations or any other thing that you can think of to describe how colors and intensity changes with this LED. So this is going to be awesome for you micro guys or people who are really weight conscious and need to put LEDs on your racer perhaps. That's going to be dope. So maybe you want some LEDs on your quad, but you don't want to be, go through the hassle of running extra wiring just to put LEDs on your quad. Well, here you go. We got something else. It actually solves a couple of things. It's called race wire, but in this case it's called race LITE. And what you do, you take this guy. So you take this guy and you basically put it in line in between your ESC and your motors. So you put your motor wires on these signals and it acts as a pass-through, and in turn, in addition to just making your wiring look nice and clean on your quad, it also gives you LEDs. So this is what I would do if you want to add LEDs on your quad, without having to run extra wire. It's basically the least intrusive way of adding LEDs onto your quad. Check them out. Race LITE from Tiny's LED. And last but not least, we've got these. Actually, let's show these real quick because I totally missed this. If you like the big, huge, fat LEDs on this guy, he also puts them on these guys. Now, this is actually two boards. I haven't cracked it in half yet, but as you can see, they're actually two. Crack this in half, and now you got the super bright LEDs on these tiny guys right here. These are 3 to 6S compatible, and on the back, you can see the little color coding so you can see what color they are because these LEDs are fixed. All right, so let's go to the last thing here, and that is the VTX power switch. Now, I think this is actually a pretty cool product. Check it out. Once again, these are actually two boards that I just haven't, I guess I could do it now. So these are actually two boards. And what this is you put this in line between your flight controller and your VTX. And what it allows you to do is with a switch on your radio, you can actually turn off your VTX. Now, some of you might be wondering, why would you use something like this? Well, maybe you're on the bench and you're working a couple of things and you need to power up your quad, but we all know that when you leave a VTX powered on with no airflow, it gets really hot, things start to degrade, and that's no bueno. Or maybe you're at a race and you are in the pits and you need to do something where you power up your quad, but you can't obviously power up while other people are flying because then you're that guy, you know, you're that, I'm gonna have to bleep that one out. You don't want to be that guy. Or here's one more use case. Maybe you're like me, you're in a race, you crash out in the middle of the racetrack. You can't go out and run to the quad because there's other people racing. It's just a nice, courteous thing to be able to flip off and switch off, flip off. You know, I was really conscious as that was leaving my mouth because it's like flip off. Like, why would you flip somebody off? That's kind of the whole thing all in itself. Yeah, that's not nice. Don't flip people off. But let's say you're in a race and you crash in the middle of the track. You can't run out and get it immediately, but yet your quad is still stuck over there. Maybe it's transmitting stuff and you're blowing video for your fellow race pilots. That's really not a nice thing to do. So the nice thing to do would be to flip that switch, turn that VTX off, and be that nice guy. So check these out. These are from Tiny's LED. Let's jump into this guy. I'm really proud of this actually. Been making, you know, frames for a while, but for whatever reason, I never made a lipo strap, and finally it's here. So this is a 250 millimeter length battery strap, extra long for you folks who like to fly with really big batteries. This is gonna be the one to get. But the one thing I wanna point out is it is made out of the nice grippy material that we all come to love and like from these things. It's also got the seamless stitching between the Velcro side and the, whatever the opposite side of a Velcro is, I don't know what it's called. The hook and loop.
The hook is the rough side, the loop is the fuzzy side.
Well, look at that. You learn something new every day. The more you know. Huh? Do you remember that? From the early 90s, the little. Anyways, you've got seamless stitching between the hook and loop side. And I like that because then it doesn't get caught up in anything. And usually, depending on the welding technique that they use, that's usually where it separates. So this is ultrasonically welded to make sure that it does not fail there. Speaking of failing, the one thing with battery straps that usually fails for me is the clasp side. The clasp side. The clasp side. Maybe I should just try taking like a speech class or something like that. All right, so the thing that I look for with the battery strap is the buckle. Is it made out of metal? Because if it is, you're golden. Usually when it's made out of, well, this one doesn't have it, but obviously it's not there anymore, but this one used to be made out of plastic. Sometimes in a crash, in a hard enough crash, that plastic clasp or buckle will break and then you've got a battery getting ejected. So check this one out. This is on the store and it's got the cool logo printed onto the side. Again, 250 millimeters in length. This should fit basically all the big fat battery guys out there. All right, speaking of battery stuff, we've got, this isn't new because I'm gonna talk about something new in a second, but I can't talk about the next thing without talking about the OG thing, which is grip. Now here's the thing, you might have a frame in which the hardware is exposed like that or it sticks up, and what happens is if you don't use a battery pad, you know, if you have a hard crash, things like that could happen. Is that in focus? Cool. So as you can see right there, what happens is that kind of digs into the battery in a crash, or that, you know, as you see I did it on both sides. And obviously that's not good for your battery. More so than that is the fact that a battery can possibly get ejected. And so I created something called grip, which is basically this guy. And really it's probably, not even probably, it's pretty much the best battery grip thing that you can get, all while also providing the type of protection that you need whenever you got exposed hardware. So as you can see, this thing isn't going anywhere. So now that I've talked about something that you guys already know, I think it's pretty safe to say that this battery pad has pretty much become the industry standard. If you're not rocking one, you're really risking your battery getting ejected. Let me introduce to you guys grip LITE. Now this was basically derived from popular demand from all you guys who have used the OG and said, you know, this stuff works really, really well, but I want something that's lighter and not so thick for my micro builds, or maybe you're a race conscious or weight conscious racer, I should say, where every gram counts. And so now we've created grip LITE, which is basically made out of the same material except at half the thickness. As you can see, I don't know if is that in focus. You can see my face, huh? All right, what if I do this and cover my face? Does that work out? Kinda, sorta, maybe. Ryan's saying yes or no. But grip LITE is basically the same formula. We gave it a cool new color that's actually translucent. In fact, when you take off the backing on here, it almost becomes even clearer, where it's just got like a tint of, you know, you got it like a tint of it. I don't know, maybe you can see right there. But anyways, it is half the thickness, half the weight. So maybe you are a micro kind of guy, you're trying to be super weight conscious, put this on the bottom of your frame, go ahead and get your battery. Maybe you're rocking a 2200 milliamp 4S on your micro. I don't know who does that, but maybe you do, and you're good to go. Now, here's the thing, especially with the micro-sized battery, chances are you can probably go ahead and rock it with no, with no battery strap. Not that I recommend that, because no matter what, in a crash, your battery's gonna eject it, so I don't recommend it at all. Even though there's a couple of videos on YouTube showing people flying using only grip and no battery strap. I don't recommend that, because you always want to make sure you've got something to keep it secure. But use grip LITE for you micro folks or people that might be weight conscious. Use the OG grip if you are putting it onto a frame where you've got exposed hardware and you need a little bit of more of that safety padding. So it may not be a secret anymore. Remix V2 is right around the corner, but I haven't forgot about you folks who are rocking the Remix V1. And a lot of you have been asking like, hey, I'm looking for some arms, specifically the 5mm conversion kit. And so I want to point this out because we put together a new kit in anticipation for V2. So this is the Remix 5mm 5-inch conversion kit, specifically for folks rocking V1. And I want to point out something here that's a little bit different. Because we want to make sure that you guys are forward compatible for V2. In other words, like if you have a V1, you can slowly just change out parts. And if you change out enough parts, you eventually have a V2. And what it comes with is you got your 4 arms, 5mm 5-inch arms. It's gonna come with the V2 camera plates. And as you can see, I guess I'll cut it open. I'm like not wanting to cut it open because I'm like super cheap, and this is actually just gonna go straight back into stock. But fine, Ryan, I'll take it out so we can show these guys what's up. So here's, you can immediately see some of the differences with the V2 cam plate. We've got the new camera slots. Basically, this is made for your standard size as well as the micro, and what it allows you to do is move it forward or backward depending if you got the micro or not. And anywhere along that line, you've still got that nice camera tilt adjustment. And then it's also gonna come with these shims for the arms, and basically these are carbon-infused polycarbonate material. Basically it means it's this super dope, lightweight, but still super strong material. And what you wanna do, here's a V1 plate. Basically take this and you place it right in there as the spacer. Then you put your arm on, put the cam plate on, and you're good to go. And what you also notice is that the cam plate here has been beefed up, and so, less chances of breaking things. If you're rocking a V1 and you want to go to 6-inch arms, maybe you want to do some long range stuff, maybe you just like that buttery goodness that 6-inch props give you, those are also available in the store. Those will not come with these though, they come with the V1 style cam plates. But all the same, if you want to go ahead and swap them over, you buy that, get these plates, and then you're good to go. And last but not least, just to popular demand for the folks that just don't want to go to 5mm, they are super perfectly happy with their 4mm arms, we are doing a short run of Remix 4mm 5-inch arms. Man, I keep forgetting all that stuff. So check all that stuff out. That's available at the store, ohmygod.com. We also got these hats. This is my favorite right here. This is my cork brim hat. And again, I just wanted to make it because I had several people ask me if they could buy this, and I figured, yeah, why not? Let's go share the coolness to everybody. So check that out. My name is Tommy, and I'll see you guys on the next one. I got it. You can also use grip with an old frame and use it as a battery picker-upper. What else can it pick up? Let's pick up the scale.
Pick up another scale.
Let's pick up a scale.
A dirty one.
Oh shoot! I didn't exactly. Oh dang, that works out pretty well. This is it. This is. I mean, this is kind of a heavy scale, guys. I'm just saying.